I'm not trying to keep these curls on the stick. I just want a big pile of them. This is both Western Red Cedar bark, and then this is wood from Western Red Cedar. I got a branch. It actually curls quite nicely, even better than a softer wood like cottonwood. Western Red Cedar is a semi-hardwood. I mean, it's soft, but it's not as soft as most softwoods, like, for instance, let me think for a minute. Cottonwood is a good example. Let me see if I can find another that we have around here. I can't think of anything else besides cottonwood as a softwood, but it's definitely not as hard as, you know, let's say fir that we have around here, and vine maple. A lot of you guys probably don't know what vine maple is because it doesn't grow in very many places, but it grows so abundantly here. It's a hardwood. So that's my tinder bundle. I want to see if that works. I have no idea if I can use a twig bundle or a saving bundle with a bow drill coal. And this is fatwood right here. I should have used fatwood in my last time I came out here. You guys will have seen the video where I came out here, like the bushcraft adventure video. I set up a tarp and did some fire and wet weather when it was raining. I should have used fatwood. I think I could have gotten it ignited. Even though this is damp, I think I can still ignite it. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about testing red cedar to see if it works with a bow drill. I've heard that it does. I want to see what I can do with it. Because cottonwood works amazing with a bow drill because it's so incredibly soft. I'll save that fatwood for later. But since Western Red Cedar is a lot harder, I don't know if it's going to work. I'm going to take my watch off. Here, I can demonstrate this for you guys. I mean, this is cottonwood right here. And I can just leave a direct mark in it. I mean, I just barely touch it and it curls. And that's not a good test for it. But I can easily leave an indent with my thumbnail. But then this, I mean, I guess you just have to do it by feel. I can't show you guys on video. But this is a lot harder. But they're both considered softwoods as far as I know. This is my Morris teeth, by the way. Yeah, so we got fatwood, red cedar savings, and then red cedar bark as our tinder bundle. So I'm testing two things to see if I can get a coal from Western Red Cedar and seeing if I can get a fire going with that with my coal. And so two different things today. You know, if I just get a coal and I can't get it started with that tinder bundle, I'd need something more fibrous. Then that's okay. I can just get a coal and I'll be satisfied with that. But so moving on here. Okay, so I have, let me see here. Okay, these two drills and this drill. So 3 drills, all previously used. You can see from the top, all previously used are cottonwood. I wish I could mark these for you guys with like a marker, but I'll tell you when I'm going to use cottonwood. And then these 2 drills are Western Red Cedar. I'm going to try this one first because this one I think is a little bit too small. And this is a cottonwood hearth board, and these are both cedar hearth boards. I'll probably try using red cedar handhold instead of my Essie. But if I can't get it going, I'll try this later. But I'm going to try my Essie with the red cedar just so I get as big advantage as I can with the harder wood. If I move on to cottonwood, if I get the cedar going, then I'll use this handhold. It'll make it more difficult, but I'll try it. Okay, here's my bow. I just got that. And some birch bark. I have bank line, but I'm going to use some paracord today. I always keep a small strand of paracord in my bushcraft kit and in my fire kit. Although I failed to mention that in my fire kit video. Just so that I can always do a bow drill if I need to with some easier cordage. You know, I don't have to make my own. I think that's a cool thing to do, because then I can always practice it. This is purple just because I have this mat because it is just soaking wet out today. So I'm just going to string my bow. So I'm going to use a cedar drill and then a cedar hearthboard. Now, to me this feels a little bit damp. And I found it all outside, but it was in my wood shed. And so hopefully it's not too damp to work with, but that could be a problem. Okay, that'll work. I'm going to use this hearthboard first. I'm going to put all this other stuff out of the way. So I'm going to use the SC Fire Steel as my bow drill divot, or my handhold, whatever you want to call it. Move everything out of the way. But before I start anything, I'm going to take my left shoe off. Because as I always say, feel what you're doing. I realized I cut that too far to the left, so I don't have anywhere to put my foot. So I'm going to carve another one. Hopefully his bow works. It's flexible, and I've never had a flexible bow before. I've always used straight, hard bows. I just like to rock it back and forth just a little bit. And then pick up speed. Okay, so I switched the camera down a little bit so you guys can see better. So before my pilot hole is burned in, just something I like to do just to get it worked in so that it's not going to come out. Oops. Is just, once you have it set in, just do a little back and forth to where you can barely see it, just a little bit. And then when it's not, you can know when it's not going to pop out. Then you pick up speed and you start using that whole entire bow. But sometimes that happens. So on this fire steel, this SE fire steel, it has the bow drill socket in it, and I have a little piece of paracord on there to put right above that, because that will get hot enough to burn you. So you have to have some type of cover, and I just like to use that piece of paracord. And then also, it works in if I drop it, I can find it again easier with that orange on there. So I like to turn my foot sideways, and that way I'm really braced. Okay, I'm going to get to the edge of this right here. Not even burned in yet. I'm having a lot of trouble with this. Almost burned in though. There we go. Well, if I burned in like I just did, I don't see any reason why that won't work. Yeah, I gotta find me a platform to catch the coal on. I never found one of those. Okay, so I fastened this flat stick here out of that cedar, and that's what I'm gonna use to catch my coal. But I'm also going to put this length of cloth under it just to catch everything that doesn't fall in here. But normally I don't like using a fibrous material because the coal will embed itself into it and then you can't shake it off into your tinder bundle. That's what I found anyway. So I'm just going to pound this out onto this stick here. And then, because all this material that's gathered up around the hole that I'm burning in, I can use that. I could put it directly into my tinder bundle, but I'll just put it right here. Just gotta pound that, get all that stuff off. And then I'm gonna cut my notch. Although I could do it with my Benchmade, I'm gonna use a Mora just because it's so much easier. I'm gonna flatten this off first. Save all the stuff I'm cutting off. Now the notch is what I've had the most trouble with, I think. I always cut it too big. So here's my notch cut. This is not the most perfect notch. Like I said, I'm not very good at that. I always mess it up usually. But I think that'll work. I don't like to cut too far into the socket itself because I found that this will pop right out usually. And I cut a big section down here to promote airflow right there. I'm hoping this will work. And so that causes friction. All the friction creates fibrous material that will fall down here and slowly ignite. That's how it works. Difficult process, but it's worth it. I'm actually going to ditch this other shoe. I hope you guys don't find this video too boring. Sometimes I just need to make a skill video that might not be the most entertaining, but it's something I think a lot of people will benefit from. But I want to make sure you guys don't think that this is a tutorial. because there are much more skilled people on YouTube that can give you a tutorial. I am not one of those people, so this is just me showing you what I can do, and that's it. Please don't use my technique. You know, it might work, but there's people that are more skilled than I am, have more knowledge than I do, that you should work towards what they do and how they do it. I try and replicate what they do as much as possible, but, you know, I'm not some Survivor man or anything. It's loud. I got plenty of material for the coal, but wasn't hot enough. As you heard, this was squeaking quite a bit, and so this bow loosened a little bit. I can't have that. Like I showed in my last video, my last bow drill video, you can use the same socket several times over. So I'm just going to sharpen this a little bit and try that. Because now I have enough fiber down here to create a coal, I just need to ignite that fiber. So instead of starting off slow and working my way up into speed and downward pressure, I'm just going to go straight into it. Because I'm not trying to create a bunch of powder, I'm just trying to ignite the powder that's there. This has worked in the past, and so let's see if it works now. We have smoke. I think that worked. Look how easy that was. I mean, that for the second time, I mean. There's a coal. It's working. And so after I burned in, after I got that powder, all you need is that powder and then just an ignition. And so I just went into it like I was going to create a coal in the first place. And then after, once I wanted to just ignite the powder that was already there, I just went straight into it. A lot of downward force, a lot of fast movement, and that fast movement is what got it, as far as I can tell. but who am I? I'm going to try and not breathe on it, and you got to stay hydrated. So I'm going to get some water, but I'm not going to drink near the coal. So Western Red Cedar does work. Who knew? I do now, and you do now. Well, you might want to go try it yourself, I would implore you. Let's move you in closer a bit. So there's my coal. You can see it smoking. Some people call it a cherry. So there's my coal or cherry, whatever you want to call it. That is truly amazing. How you can literally get fire from what I call rubbing two sticks together. That is insane. I just can't wrap my mind around it. So I'm going to try and put it in the tinder bundle and ignite it, but I don't know if it'll work because, you know, I'm using a new tinder bundle material, which is just straight up savings. And so we'll try it. I've never tried it before. Like I said, it likes to stick to fibrous material, so I'm going to have to scrape it off. Look at that. Fire in wet weather with the bow drill. Because it is extremely wet out today. This is all material I gathered myself around. Yeah. And this is still smoldering. I gotta put that out. I'd use something better than something fibrous. I'm not trying to start a big sustainable fire today. Yeah, fire in wet weather with a bow drill. All of this material I used today, besides the paracord to start this, has all been gathered outside. It's pretty cool. You guys can see that fire, right? Yeah. This is Ted's Outdoors. Yep. Okay, now what we're gonna do is try it a little bit different now. So I'm going to get Cottonwood hearthboard, Western Red Cedar drill, and Western Red Cedar handhold instead of my Essie. Instead of this. So this will make it a lot more difficult, the natural hand drill made out of wood. And I want to see also how the cottonwood works with the cedar. I am allergic to cedar, and so, you know, it's not that bad, but I do have a mild allergy to it. And so, working with it a lot and breathing the smoke isn't great, but I can handle it. It's really not that bad. So I'm just going to flatten this out right here. Just like that. And some people will cut this, cut the black part off and mold it a little bit more. after they use it. Some people will, some people won't. I haven't found that that works. I always found that it makes it more difficult. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it because I don't know. I just, that's my experience. But again, learn from people more skilled than I am, please. So I'm going to use leaves now, which I should have done earlier, to catch the coal. But I'm not going to need that right now. I'm going to use the same drill. This bow needs to be a lot tighter. That'll work. I found that in today, just with my experience today, I don't really like a flexible bow. This is a lot more flexible than what I usually use, and I don't find that it works better. I don't know, it could with some people, but so far I haven't found that it works better. So I'm going to put my leaves, just one leaf down, to catch anything that falls down, even though I'm not trying to catch a coal right now. And I like to twist my foot almost parallel with the hearthboard. That way I can brace my knee, or brace my arm with my knee quite well. Again, I just start off slow, work it back and forth, work it in there. This drill is not the best. It's my carving ability. Oh, whoops. That is so much more difficult using a wood handhold. I mean, I can already see a big difference. And some people will crush part of a candle in there, or get some beeswax or something. I don't have any of that on me anyway. Okay, now I'm going to cut my notch. Again, I try and cut it really small and then slowly widen it up as I need it. Otherwise I end up cutting it too big. So I always cut it smaller than I think I need to. And then I just widen it up if I need it. If I don't, I don't. Now, since I drilled in already fairly far into this handhold, I'm going to cut it down a little bit. Just a little bit. So that there's not a big deep hole, and then that will start dragging. Okay, try two. Now that I have that notch cut, I think that'll be big enough. This drill was not carved well. My bow keeps slipping off. That is 100% my fault. Okay, that was a fail. I gotta get a new bow. This bow is horrible. So I'm gonna go find one of those. This bow just doesn't work for me. I'll get back to you. Okay, this is take 2 on cedar drill, cottonwood hearthboard. Cedar handhold. Now again, now that I have the powder, I'm just gonna try and ignite it with one hard push. This bow is not a lot better than my other one because it has a crack down the middle, but I forgot my saw. Both of them. I don't have my Leatherman on me, and I forgot my folding saw. So, it's the best I could do. Okay, try number 3. I'm going to use the same pilot hole because I still have enough room on the board to burn in. Same pilot hole, same drill, same everything for the 3rd time. I'll try and remember to put the link below to my other bow drill video. Or my first bow drill video. I'm sure I'll make more. And I tried the same pilot hole for 3 times. And it worked. So I know it does work. Okay, there's a coal. Same pilot hole 3 times. It works. I've proved that twice now, so far. Same pilot hole 3 times, and that's why I've been using a thicker board than what most people say to use. And so I can try it 3 or 4 times, because as soon as you get that powder, you can just ignite it with the 3rd try. I'll show you guys my coal. And that's why I like to use you can see how thick that is. That's about, I'd say it's about 1 inch thick. And that way I can burn through this pilot hole 3 different times, and it works really well. Okay. Try and do this all in one shot so that it's more proof to you guys that I can do it. Yeah, there's my cherry, or coal. See that red burning? There you go, guys. Same pilot hole 3 times. So, what have I proven? I've proven that cedar on cedar works very well, and I can use natural handhold, which is also cedar. So all of this right here is cedar. So I've proven I can use. I have another cedar hearthboard yet to be used. I've proven that cedar and cottonwood works quite well. Cottonwood being softer and the drill being harder. And yeah, there you go. I will continue to use it. I think it worked quite well. I do prefer cottonwood on cottonwood though. I think it was a lot easier. So this is a cottonwood drill. And you don't want it too soft. I mean, this is a little bit glossy, and that's how you want it. Now this right here is just, I mean, so old, it's just grainy. I mean, it's almost punk wood now, and that is not what you want, as far as I know, because I've never gotten this to work very well. But, you know, all in my opinion, I prefer this. All my opinion. I'm not saying what's better, I'm not saying what's worse. All my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. So I prefer cottonwood on cottonwood, but cedar on cedar works, and cedar on cottonwood works. Later on, I will try a cedar drill, or not cedar drill, but a cottonwood drill, and I will try it with a cedar hearthboard. I'll let you guys know how that works. Yep. See that smoke? I don't have another tinder bundle to prove it. Or, yeah, but you guys saw that tinder bundle. It went up. Yep, it's my cherry. Rubbing two pieces of stick together. This stick onto that stick. Rubbing them together to make a fire. So thank you guys all so much for watching. I can't express how much I enjoy your guys' support in all of this. I can't express it, honestly. So thank you guys all so much for watching. It is much appreciated. Knowing that there's a lot of people out there that watch my videos is very encouraging to me. And it helps me to do things like this. Create a bow drill. Get a coal. Things like that, you know? Yeah, so it's much appreciated. Now, there's a lot of people out there who did bow drill tutorials on YouTube. And I'd just like to thank everybody that did one. Because I can't name off everybody that I watched, but I think I watched every single bow drill tutorial on YouTube. Because I just couldn't get it and couldn't get it and couldn't get it. And then I was just like, man, I just gotta keep trying. And then eventually I got it. I realized the wood I was using wasn't the best. And I should have been using something else. I mean, I was using cottonwood, but the state that it was in wasn't good for a bow drill, I found. And so that was an impairment to me and disadvantage. So anyway, all that aside, so just thank you guys all, everybody on YouTube who's done a bow drill tutorial or friction fire tutorial. Thank you guys all so much. Yeah, so that's it, I guess. Now, I did put out a challenge before this video, and that challenge is still active. You know, there's no prize except that you get joy of creating skills, and that's one of the best prizes there is. You know, I'm not giving away anything besides encouragement and inspiration to everybody that wants to try a friction fire or a bow drill or whatever type of friction fire you want. And that challenge is just out there for everybody who wants to partake. You can do a video, you don't have to do a video, you can do whatever you want. It's just to encourage you guys to do it, because if I can do it, I know you can do it. I know you can if I can. That's just how it is. You know, I'm not some skilled guy who knows everything. No, far from it. I will always be a novice, because there's always so much more to learn. And so just thank you guys all for watching. If you want to partake in the challenge, go ahead. You can watch my other video where I explain more about it. And yeah, I'll see y'all later. Goodbye.